What is up, everybody? My name is Nicole.
And I'm Jardin.
And you are tuned into the Playbook Diaries podcast, where there is a play behind every single story. So today we have an amazing guest to help us jump off this podcast. We have the illustrious, the multifaceted Jill of all trades, and she don't give a jack about slowing down. The Renaissance woman of 2024, a great friend of mine, Miss P. Dollars, in the freaking house. How are you doing today?
Woo, that was a great intro.
That was great. Round of applause. I gotta give you that.
Hey, you deserve it.
You gotta give me that.
You deserve it.
Yeah, like she said, Jill of all trades. My name is Paige, and I'm the host of The Front Pages.
Let's get it. So today, for our first episode, we will give you guys a treat, and Miss P. Dollars will be interviewing Jardin and I and telling you guys a little bit about what we have in store for you. So let's get it.
I'm excited about this, actually.
I'm excited too.
This is top tier.
I'm so excited.
Let's get into it, because first off, I don't even think your audience knows who you are. So
That's true.
Who are you? Like, what is your background and what schools did you go to? Like, just give us a whole rundown right now.
What is it? You want to go first or want me to go first?
I'll go first. So I'm Jardin. Went to, first of all, from Arlington, Texas, Ag Town. Shout out to the Ag. I went to Bowie High School in Arlington, and then went to college at the University of Oklahoma. I'm a Sooner, and got a bachelor's and master's from there, and got a MBA from Southern Methodist University, SMU. Sports background is I've interned for the NBA. At one point I was the director of communications for the Orange Bowl committee. Super fun. And then I've interned for ESPN briefly. And then I worked for the University of Oklahoma's football team, as well as SMU's football team.
And now you are a co-host to the number one sports podcast in the world.
Period. Exactly.
Yep. So what's up, everyone? My name is Nicole Ilanya. I graduated from the San Jose State University, a part of the first ever women's track and field team in school history. I was a triple jumper. And then I went on to SMU and got my law degree, and I got my MBA. And I was also a student athlete at SMU, All-American, Go Stangs. Yeah. And I have a pretty good background in sports. I interned at 2 Division I universities. I was an athletic director's intern at San Jose State for 2 years. I've interned and had an immense experience at the Cotton Bowl. And I also served on the compliance committee, not compliance committee, but worked in compliance at SMU. And everybody know the death penalty at SMU was crazy a couple years back. And so I had some really good experience when it came to compliance working there. And that is a little bit of, and I am a co-host on the best podcast in the world. So
really what I'm hearing is resume on resume on resume, stacks on stacks of experience here. So you guys know what y'all talking about.
A little bit, just a little bit.
Just a smidge.
Just a little bit. At least from the sports business side, I think that we have a little bit more experience. Well, probably a lot more experience than the average person that enjoys watching sports, because we have worked behind the scenes in multiple facets. So I think that that's how our view of things is a little bit, is slightly different, because we know the business implications that are going on behind the scenes.
Right.
And so that's why we try on Playbook Diaries to highlight the plays. But we understand like the plays of the story. Like everyone sees what you see on camera, but we are trying to pinpoint the specific plays of sports figures and athletes and all alike.
Yeah. Well, I would have to say I love the play on words. Like Playbook Diaries is right on brand. Like the branding is everything. Crisp. And being that you guys have that business background, you understand how important that branding is, and just having a solid core to that. So I applaud y'all for that, because that's not an easy feat. So
it is.
I like half the battle.
It really is.
It really is. Most of it. I feel like branding was so difficult.
It can be. It definitely can be. Yeah. Because you want to make yourself stand out, right? And, especially in a field of sports where it's not really woman dominated yet.
For sure.
Yeah.
So, yes. And I put emphasis on yet, because we're coming.
Yeah. But branding was difficult, which is like, so my degree from the University of Oklahoma is public relations. which is branding and mixed with comms. That is why I don't do that in my real job, because I don't really enjoy that. It's too much. I'm like, it's too much to keep up with all the time. So I'm like, I couldn't, even having this small taste of doing it here, I'm like, oh yeah, I couldn't do this for 40 hours a week.
For sure.
So we know that branding took a lot into this, but as we move on to your personal view on sports, like what are some of your favorite events to watch or even attend?
I'm definitely an avid sports watcher all around. I would say, I grew up playing basketball. We played basketball together, and I was a Division I athlete for track and field. I'm an avid football watcher, and I would say I'm a student of it. And I would say I'm a student of all sports. Another thing that I really like to do is I have a lifelong bucket list of trying to explore various sports that I would say I'm ignorant on, like cricket.
Let's go to a cricket game. That's crazy. I literally was going to say like cricket.
Let's go to a cricket game. I didn't know much about lacrosse, and we just started, the DFW Metroplex just started the Panther City lacrosse team. Shout out to y'all. And I went ahead and bought some tickets and went to a game. And so I'm just a avid sports fan. You and I went to March Madness last year.
Yeah, and that was what an experience. That's probably one of the best events I've been to.
Amazing. Mm-hmm. And so I've always been a big sports person. In 2018, I was in Paris, and that's when the World Cup was going on, and Paris won. And so I've always been big on sports, always been.
For me, the sport that I enjoy the most is football, but not just any football, is college football. I am a massive college football fan. And when I say I'm a fan, so Nicole mentioned bucket list. One of my bucket lists is to visit all of the Power 5 schools' football stadiums. And so I have quite a dent on that list.
I've
been doing it for about 3 years now.
Tell them what big game you went to this year, Michigan versus Ohio State.
I did Michigan versus Ohio State. I did Oklahoma versus Texas, which is a massive rivalry.
Literally.
And then I did last year. I did Tennessee versus Bama when Bama beat Tennessee. When Tennessee beat Bama.
Oh, I know that was crazy.
That game was wild because it was a last second when I drove up. I flew to Atlanta, then drove 2.5 hours from Atlanta to Knoxville. Went to the game, and mind you, all these games I'm going to by myself. I just hop on a plane.
You're dedicated.
And
I was just about to say that. You're so dedicated, and watching your stories during those moments is like a highlight of my life. I'm like, what Jordan doing next? Because I know she's going to be on the field. I know.
I'm getting
and that's
on
the
that
thing.
field. I'm getting on the field. I'm not traveling all that way to not get on the field. I'm going to reach out, and I'm going to do what I have to do to get on the field. I'm going to take a picture on the field. But that's part of the experience. And
those are the plays that we plan on serving to our guests. We're not just watching it from TV. We're there.
Yeah.
We're talking to people. We're there. And we're trying to highlight things that you wouldn't watch in the game.
Oh yeah. When I go to these games, if I'm getting on the field or I'm just even there, I've contacted somebody that works for the university. Sports is it's a big business, but for those starting off at the beginning, we may not know each other personally, but we are in the same kind of circles.
Yeah.
So I'll reach out to the depending on the school, an athletic director or someone that's over student athlete development or the team therapist or psychologist, someone that I can reach out to, and that's just simply reaching out through Instagram. And I'm like, hey, I'm coming to the game. I don't mind asking for a ticket, but and no one's ever been like, no, they've given me.
So
I've always gotten tickets.
How far ahead do you plan these travels or to these games? Are you looking at schedules already?
I didn't do it this year, but I used to take a list of all the games. I would go to ESPN. So ESPN breaks up the games by weeks, and so you can say I pick what would be the best game because when I go to these games, I don't want to go to a game that's gonna be a massive blowout.
For sure,
yeah. And it's so fun watching a game when you have no dog in the fight.
Yeah.
And my team is Oklahoma, so if Oklahoma's not playing, I'm relaxed. When Oklahoma's playing, I am extremely stressed.
I don't like to be
I don't like people talking. I really don't like people talking to me. I don't like people making jokes y'all
funny.
gonna lose. It's really ain't shit funny.
Nothing's funny.
When I'm not joking. I don't play like that. But when I'm going to teams that I don't have a dog in the fight, I pick a rivalry game. So that Ohio State, Michigan, or, Tennessee, Bama. That's not their typical rivalry. But at the time that I went, the teams were ranked 1 and 2, I believe, when I went to that game. And then when I went to Ohio State, Michigan, they were 1 and 2 at the time. Yeah. So I tried to pick them out from there. But for the Ohio State Michigan game, I didn't decide I was going to that game until 4 days before. I had some points because for my full-time job, I travel a lot. And so I had a bunch of points, and it was I had 86,000 points. And so I
love that. I love you.
I checked the flight. Yeah.
Resources.
And so I checked the flight, and I was like, okay, this is going to cost about 27,000 points. And I was like, okay. And so I just booked it. Because some of these are so last minute, that's why I always go by myself. Yeah. Because I wouldn't be able to go to any of these games if I was waiting for someone to be able to get off work with me.
And that's so important.
Yeah, you can't wait. I just go by myself.
You cannot wait. You can no longer wait. You would not be able to do the
you will never want to do.
Yeah. If you wait on other people, it would take more time. But I know for women, it's traveling alone is a little it's very intimidating for women. So when I'm traveling by myself, I don't drink.
Yeah, you have to be alert.
So I'm at the games, I might have a beer or two, or I might take a shot. But after about halftime, it's it's
cut off.
It's cut off. And I'm not chugging, I'm not drinking at tailgates. I know how to monitor. I'm I still need to be on my P's and Q's because I either drove there by myself or I flew there by myself. I need to be.
It's definitely a lifestyle.
Yeah, it is a lifestyle. So I know not to. I know my limit.
And I would also say it got curated based on our experience and the people that we know within the industry. Mm-hmm. Like you said, like Jardin said, she has a lot of experience with the Cotton Bowl, the NBA, ESPN. And so there's a lot of people that she met along the way. I have been to the NCAA headquarters countless of times. There's a lot of people we met along the way who are now at these institutions. And don't burn the bridge.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I love that y'all getting these experiences because this is what makes our youth. This is a story that we're going to tell our kids about. So I love that. I love that about y'all. I love that we're just advocates to just attending sports and being a part of that environment. So
for sure.
Yeah, so keep going. I'm excited. I'm really excited to see, y'all understand, if you've not checked out any of their content from these games or activities or events, definitely do so because if not, you're missing out.
I think March Madness was I explained to people that it was electrifying.
Yeah.
When I was there,
I don't think I've been to a March Madness game. I don't know whose phone that is. It's ringing.
That's my phone, but it's on Do Not Disturb.
Put on airplane mode.
Oh my God.
I think it was a surprise for us because we thought we bought tickets for one game and it was for the entire championship weekend.
Final four.
How much were they? Around.
We got I think we paid $150.
So we purchased them before the hype arrived. Because I remember
months in advance?
No. We purchased a month, sometime in February, around this time last year.
Yeah.
And we were like, it doesn't really matter who goes to the game.
Let's just go.
We're just going to go.
It's in our city.
That was when it was in Houston?
Dallas. We were going with women, baby. We was going for girls. We was going for girls.
We saw LSU, Iowa.
Virginia Tech.
Was it?
South Carolina.
It was South Carolina.
South Carolina.
We got the entire weekend. I wasn't even supposed to stay on Sunday, and I was like,
you gotta stay.
I have to.
Yeah. You gotta stay. It was when I watched. It sounds so head ass, but I literally felt like, and I've been to really good women's games, and I've been a big college women's basketball fan. But when I was at March Madness and watching, and the girls were coming in, it was flames, and the crowd was. I said, women's basketball has arrived.
Yeah.
She literally kept saying that. And I was like,
I said, we're here.
Well, it was such a big step up from the year prior. Remember when the women's teams were complaining? They were like, the boys had a whole full gym. And
what an insult.
And the women had weights.
Thank you, social media. But that's an insult.
No, it was a slap.
They gave them dumbbells.
And then to show them what their counterparts had and have them in the same. It's like,
crazy.
Why can't they use that same facility?
And I want to
get back.
Literally. And I want to use what you just said to say. That is why the Playbook Diaries podcast is so instrumental because we have came a long way, and the podcast is not about women's rights and suffrage.
We got enough stories about that.
We're gonna sprinkle that seasoning throughout the meals,
right?
But I will say that it's just so dope because even when we were at the game, it was sold out. People, it was amazing.
Speaking of sold out, who was it that released that stat this week? Iowa.
Yeah.
Oh,
It was like, for example, it was like 33 out of their next 35 games
Sold out.
were sold out at capacity, which is for a women's basketball program. That has not happened.
but that's like their butter out there, because we were
Yeah.
talking to some of the fans there, and they were saying this is all we
People
have.
drove.
Yeah.
People drove.
They drove 13 hours.
No.
Yeah, we knew LSU would show up, but Iowa, for them to
They don't
come out,
have.
it was crazy.
They don't have an NBA team.
They don't have.
Yeah,
anything.
I mean, they don't have anything.
They don't have
NBA,
anything.
NFL.
Yeah, they're there. So those girls made them. They put in that place on the map.
Yeah.
Shout out to the Iowa women's basketball team.
Yeah.
We would love to have you guys on the podcast. Let's get it.
While we're on it, the pricing, because different sports, attending different events is very different. For those of you, I mean, if you're a woman or a man that wants to start going to events like these, the prices, let them know how much these things cost. You said March Madness was $150 for.
That was before. it blew
Honestly,
up.
if you're paying
For
for a
women's,
concert,
yeah.
you can go to.
Yeah,
it.
it's the same as if you're an avid concert goer. But I would say, like, supply and demand, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah. The big game's gonna be more. Yeah.
after March Madness blew up the way it is, I can only imagine that the tickets are going to be triple at least the price. I don't know,
Yeah.
but I can only imagine
For football, which is higher.
for sure.
OU Texas tickets, the cheapest ticket the day of the game was $720 for Ohio State, Michigan.
A basic ticket?
$1,200 student ticket.
1,200.
Now that's not because the student tickets aren't. They only go to the students, but students were taking their like $100 tickets and selling them for $1,200. I could not find a ticket cheaper than $1,200. And so I got on Facebook. I ended up getting my ticket. Somebody was like, "Yeah, you can have it for free.
It's a lifestyle, dude.
You can have it for free
It's all
because
about
the
who knows
person
you
I'm
and
going
who you
with
know.
isn't going anymore."
I would definitely say
Yeah.
it's a lifestyle.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
our lifestyle, one of our lifestyles are sports.
yeah, and I'm very cheap, so I'm like $1,200. I'm literally. That's where I draw the line. I'm not paying $1,200 to see an amateur sport.
But one thing I've learned is, you can buy the money, you can buy the clothes, the cars, and X, Y, or
Yeah.
Z. But those experiences, I'm gonna probably talk about March Madness with Paige.
Yeah. I definitely will spend more money on experiences than I will like
Oh, 10 out of 10.
outfits, clothes. Like that's how I prioritize. Like I'm like, oh yeah, I'll spend $200 on a game before I spend $200 at the club.
Oh, easily.
And that's not down to anybody that goes to clubs. Just for me personally, in terms of where I have the most fun, that's what I would spend my $200
I
on.
can't even hear you at the club. You can hear me here. What'd you say? There was one time-
You can't hear the football games either. Like, you really
It's
can't
true.
talk. I'm like,
There was one time someone was trying to tell me something at the club. I swear I said, "What did you say?" 5 times. He said, "Boy,
I just texted the club. I'm like, I put my message. I'm like,
that's too much."
that is a lot.
So with all these experiences that you guys have collectively had, I have some trivia questions to see exactly what do you know about some sports.
Okay.
Let's
Y'all
get
down
it.
for that? Y'all down for that?
Yeah.
All
Let's
right.
get it. Let me not
So-
embarrass myself.
We'll start easy.
Please.
When a bowler makes 3 strikes in a row, what is it called?
Turkey.
Okay.
Not me acting like family feud. Turkey. Turkey.
What does WWE stand for?
Shit.
Wrestle.
Something wrestle entertainment.
Is that your final answer?
No, hold on.
World Wrestling Entertainment. That's gonna be my answer.
Yeah, I'll probably go with that too.
You're right.
Hey, that was good.
Let's go.
Okay. Maybe be a little bit more challenging here. What 5 colors make up the Olympic rings?
Oh, that's
Yellow, green, black,
easy. Red,
red.
blue.
I'm going to go with that.
That's your 5.
Hey,
What colors are goalposts in football?
yellow.
Yellow.
Okay, sometimes.
Okay, I'm like,
Because some people
I was about to say
I'm like,
orange.
is that a tricky one?
All right. What color flag is waved in motor racing to indicate the winner?
White.
Black and white. No, that's the start.
White. Black and white means
the-
that's the final
that's
lap,
the
right?
start.
Or is the white one the final lap?
The white one is the final lap. So to end it,
Red.
I've never seen.
To indicate the winner.
To indicate the winner?
Red doesn't give me a color of victory.
It's like stop.
Yeah, it's like stop. So I don't think it's red.
Hold on.
I know it's not
Hooters.
blue.
I'm trying to think of a Hooters.
I know it's
I'm
not.
like,
Wow.
I'm gonna just say white because I don't know. I don't see blue.
I thought it was checkerboard. Checkered is way
Checkered is to
either
start.
as the final.
Checkered is the answer.
Oh, I said that first.
Did you?
I said black and white. But I didn't confirm.
Black and white, checkered, I don't know.
You should have said what colors.
That was a trick question.
Okay.
Checkered.
Let me just take my L.
We mentioned it. Okay.
How many miles long is a marathon?
26.
Is that your final answer?
26.2.
I was
It
going
is
to say.
2.2. I was waiting. Details matter, ladies.
Details.
Okay.
What are two of Canada's national sports?
Hockey.
Hockey and
Hold on. Hockey.
it's not rugby.
They're Maple Leafs. Hockey for sure is one. What is
They
Canada
like.
known
I mean,
for?
they have a basketball team too.
Think about the seasons. So ice hockey is one.
I don't think it's rugby.
Is it fucking snowboarding or skiing?
No.
It's great. I mean, I went skiing in Canada.
Ooh.
Shit, you say that about your.
She got money.
I'm skiing in Canada.
I've done this before. I'm here.
So I feel like we would have heard about that though. Like do you know any? Like I don't know any hockey. But I know
They do have
hockey.
the Toronto Raptors, but then they have the Canadian Football League.
They do.
They have a
I
whole
don't think.
football league.
I don't think.
So, would you like to answer? For
I'm
sure.
gonna say football and I'm gonna go with football and hockey.
I'm gonna go with hockey and basketball.
It is ice hockey in the winter and lacrosse in the
Ah!
summer.
Damn, that is a northern thing.
Yes,
It really is. It really
It's
is.
just
a
the
northern
north.
thing.
Yeah,
Our southern
I would
ass.
guess it. Okay.
Next question. In what game is love a score?
tennis.
That's good. Jordan just got
Never got that. I would have never got that.
All right, so I have a couple of bonus questions for
Let's
you.
get it.
Okay.
What is Muhammad Ali's birth name?
Cassius Clay.
Oh yeah, it is that. It is
Yes. A lot of people don't know that.
that. Yeah.
Cassius Clay.
Cassius Clay. You gonna say my name? That's fabulous.
Yeah.
In what year were women allowed to compete in the modern Olympic Games?
I'm going. Okay, let's think about it. Our parents' age. First of all,
Why do you always have to
Mansfield-
start there?
I want to start there because a lot of stuff has happened that's fairly recent. Like the
Facts.
first black student, the schools were desegregated in a
Like 1960.
60.
That's not that long ago.
The woman
Facts.
is 5 years older than my mother. So I'm like,
Oh.
that's recent. And for the information, if you're from Texas, Mansfield ISD was the last school district in Texas to be desegregated in the year 2012.
What?
Officially. Officially, Mansfield ISD was officially, because the thing with like laws,
It'd be old.
they go with it's a lot of laws.
Yeah.
And so it's just no one actually went back. They
To
had
go
been-
change
They
it.
have been
Oh,
intertwined.
for sure. No one
one
knew.
officially changed
No one said,
the law.
"Hey, dude, this law still say that." That's crazy.
Yeah, so Mansfield ISD was the last school
That's
district
crazy.
in
So
Texas.
the question of when
2012.
they were able to compete.
When women were allowed to compete, I'm gonna say
you have to think of global perspective. Like think
Yeah.
global.
I'm
This
thinking
is the-
American. I'm like,
exactly.
everybody got rights.
Think the global
I
perspective.
would say 56.
I'm going.
But Oprah Winfrey was born in 52.
Oprah is the benchmark for you?
Well, I'm just like, think about like it ain't
I hear
that
you. I
far
hear you. I hear
removed.
you.
I'm gonna say.
I'm gonna say 50. I'm gonna say 56.
1970s.
Oh.
Think about gymnastics.
Are they
The Russians was taking over gymnastics. The Russians
They-
had gymnastics on lock.
the Hitler time? He was like, "Let's get it."
So are you changing your answer?
Okay, hold on. The Holocaust was
I don't want
40,
to. I don't want to
47
reveal
through.
what I took away from school.
Because history was.
Okay, Holocaust was 7 years.
Was it only?
I
Seven?
can't draw this timeline for
It
you.
was 7.
I know.
It was-
We're over here like.
I'm
Let's
trying
just
to
say an
use-
answer. We're too
Yeah,
long
I
on
just-
this.
I just-
I'm
I'll
gonna
say
say.
56. What's yours?
I'm gonna say 1963. We went to the moon.
1900 and the sport was tennis.
Damn, we're so far off.
Wow. I guess the
That's
world was
surprising.
more- And the world was. I mean, the sport was what?
Tennis.
1900?
Yeah.
I didn't even know the Olympics was that old.
I didn't know the Olympics was that old either.
I think it was more so the structure of it was different back
Yeah,
then
for sure.
versus what it is today.
Okay.
Yeah.
I would have never went that far.
I'm over here thinking about. I said
Y'all did pretty good though. Y'all did pretty good. Your
I mean,
experience
establishing the
shone
timeline. I'm like,
yeah, we'll leave the the streets of the historians.
Thieves.
We were all over the place.
I'm just here to talk.
My mom is this age. Okay, Oprah.
Oprah, like what Oprah gotta do?
I need some benchmarks. You know, like now we reference
you-
everything was like, was this pre-COVID or post-COVID? And it's like, okay,
No,
let's see
that
what
part. That is my benchmark now. I'm like,
Yeah.
was it
Pre-post.
Was we in the house or were we
pre-COVID or post-COVID. Our parents might do like pre 9/11, post 9/11.
Oh,
I was
wow.
talking to a child recently. I mean, they're like 18, and I was like, you know where you was for 9/11? And they were like,
In the womb?
I wasn't born yet. And I was
Yeah.
like, oh my gosh, there are people that were born and their first president was black. If you were born after 2008, your first president was black.
That's crazy.
That was
we have
your
a different
norm.
life.
What a world.
Yeah, it's a different perspective.
Wow.
we
Is that
should-
how our parents feel?
So, I mean, it's
I
different.
would-
They went to segregated schools.
Wow.
I don't know.
That
We were born in the age of technology, so or we
That's
were
true.
raised. I don't want to say born. We were raised
Yeah.
in the
into
age
that. Yeah, because I was
of
definitely on my house
technology.
phone.
For sure.
Definitely on that house
Definitely.
phone. So now that we pretty much done with trivia,
This is a good warm up.
we know what you guys
Yeah.
know. We talked
Yeah.
about your background. We know what you know. But let's talk about Playbook Diaries and the goals for Playbook Diaries this year.
Let's get it.
Okay, you go. You can go with that one first.
So Playbook Diaries. How should I start? Should I start with how we kind of got started?
Yeah, like where did this even
did this
come
come
from?
from?
Like, what is Playbook Diaries?
So you want me to start
I-
off with that one?
Yeah, but I'll say a little bit about our relationship.
Okay, go ahead.
So Jardin and I have been knowing each other for 10 plus years.
Yeah,
We've always been cool.
yeah,
A little bit more than cool, but we've always been solid.
yeah.
And there's always been a mutual respect.
I was just gonna say that. It was always a mutual level of respect because not everybody. We went to high school together.
Yeah.
If y'all didn't pick up on that from the beginning, you didn't because you didn't say your high school.
I did not.
Okay.
Are you ashamed?
Yeah.
I am not, but I've done so much more after.
Okay.
I feel that.
Like,
Okay. Well, yeah. So you don't have to respect everyone that you went to high school with, especially in a Texas-sized high school. We went to a
pretty
high school
big high
had
school.
4,800 kids.
Yeah.
We went to a pretty big high school.
Yeah.
Huge.
So we was always cool.
Yeah.
It was always solid. Even I went on my visit. I had initially verbally committed to OU. And I even when I went on my visit, Jardin was a freshman at OU. And Jardin was with me like the whole entire
I was a sophomore, junior.
girl,
I
you
was
was
a
not no
sophomore.
junior.
I was a
Girl.
sophomore.
You're a year older than me.
Yeah, but she didn't you like graduate?
I graduated. Okay, so by Oklahoma standards,
Semantics.
but fuck off.
On my visit.
But I was in my second year of Oklahoma.
Okay,
because
cool.
the job that I had, I didn't apply for it until my second year. Okay.
Cool. Fact.
And I was already working for Oklahoma football, and they were like, I normally did the recruiting visits for the football athletes, but they were like, hey, we have somebody from Arlington. Do you know who this is? I'm like, oh yeah. They're like, do the tour. I'm like, okay, cool.
So on my visit, OU, Jardin was basically with me the whole entire time. And so like we've always just been locked in, but we don't need to talk, but we've always been locked in. Jardin calls me, I'm gonna answer. I call Jardin, she's gonna answer. So let's fast forward all the way up until the phone call.
So I'm at work at my job, and a group of us none of us work on the same team. We just happen to sit next to each other. And somebody was asking me questions about sports and having me explain everything to them. And I was trying to break down like the recruitment process of college football. And so now we have a crowd of about like 10, 11 people. And there are guys in this mix, and they're like, how do you know so much? And so I tell them like, oh, I used to do this, blah, blah, blah. And somebody's like, well, you should make a podcast. Like people would love to hear like a woman talk about this because you can actually I was spewing off some stats. Like I was like, oh, 83% of blah, blah, blah. And they're like, for you to just know all of that top of mind, like that's impressive. You should make a podcast. And I'm like, okay. So we are still, mind you, we are talking about this for like an hour. And so they're like, oh, in your podcast, you can do this, you can do this. And it's just like, okay. But then a girl pulled me aside. She was like, we were joking, but I really think you should do a podcast. And so on the way home, I make a phone call and I asked one of my close friends, I'm like, what do you think about this? Like, will people listen to this? Because I know that there is a dilemma when it comes to people subscribing to content or like media where where the lead is a woman.
For sure.
And-
Especially in the male dominated
In a male
environment.
dominated field. And so they were like, yeah, I mean, as long it gets kind of, she said it gets kind of annoying when all that women in sports want to do is talk about being a woman in sports.
For sure.
Yeah.
And we've heard that narrative so many times. So it's like, as long as you don't, that's not the basis of your podcast. She's like, I think that men and women would tune in. And then I started building from there. And I called Nicole that same day. And I was like, what do you think about this?
I have a proposal.
Yeah. I was like, you don't have to answer now, but I'm thinking about doing this. And I think that you would be really good at this, because somebody at my job was like, find a co-host, because it's hard sometimes to talk by yourself for an hour or whatever. And so the friend that I initially called, Janae, she was like, okay, we'll find someone that knows sports, has a background in sports, and can talk and is about their business. Because, you hear horror stories about people that know each other going into business together. So I'm like, let me find someone with morals, because I will trust you.
It's true, though.
It's
very true.
It's so important.
I need someone with similar morals, because it's like, I've paid for stuff, Nicole has paid for stuff. I'm like, okay, we're splitting the cost down the middle. I'm not like, Nicole, you didn't pay me. I'm not at fear that she's not going to pay me.
In fact, I'm taking pictures of my credit card. Like
I have a picture of her credit card.
Just
Don't know
charge
if
to
I
the
did that
card.
if I was her. But I was like, but it's a certain level of trust, a certain level of respect. And so my big thing with going in business was, I need someone that I can trust and that stands on the same morals as myself. Yeah, because I don't have to chase them down for money. That's the number one reason for divorces and just arguments. So I'm like,
finances.
That was a lot of what was into it. And then a fun fact is me and Nicole over these years, and we might go a year without talking, but when we would have interviews in sports, we would contact each other. Me and Nicole have had multiple jobs where both of us are interviewing for the same position. And it was, even though we were interviewing for the same position, it never felt like she would give me advice, I would give her advice. And for me, it never felt like this is a competition.
We're always helping each other.
It was still genuinely, if I don't get the job, I'm still prepping you for the job, and vice versa. That's how I always felt.
That's even what happened at SMU.
Yeah. That is so rare. People look out for themselves. And so it's like, if I'm calling you for help, and we're going up for the same job and it's one position, it's a certain level of respect and trust that I have for you, for me to even be on the phone asking you what's up? What did you do for this interview? People aren't like that.
Yeah. I see Jardin's success as my success.
Yeah.
And I believe that she sees my success as her success, because I see it as what is success and what is really the top? It's a concept of perception. And so whoever gets to their top, I wholeheartedly believe is like, hey girl, come through.
Yeah.
And that's it. That's how I feel.
You can trust in that.
Yeah. And it's very much a non-crabs in the barrel thing. It's like, when I'm in the position, or when I would see jobs where I'm like, this has happened multiple times, where it's like, okay, I know this position is hiring one person, but I'm like, send it to Nicole. I'm like, hey, apply for this.
You're good at it.
Even though I know I'm applying for it, I still send it to her.
It makes sense.
It's like,
you need that. I feel like you need people who look out for you the way that you look out for them. And that's important, especially being a woman of color as well.
I don't compete with my friends.
Yeah, no. We don't need to. We don't need to. There's room for all of us.
It literally is room for everyone to succeed.
Yeah. And I really do think that we're stronger together.
We are. We definitely are.
And that's just kind of what it is. So that's kind of how the podcast got started.
That's how it got originated.
I remember my response to Jardin was, let me think about it.
You probably said it just like that.
Literally, I said, let me think about it.
She was quiet.
I was. Yeah, I said, I want to think about it. I have a pretty demanding career. I run my own company and, life. And I said, the only way that I will agree to do this is if we do it. And here we are, first episode. Let's get it.
Yeah, what did you say? You said a year. You said a year commitment.
I said I need a year commitment. And so we've been married for
since December. I think it was December.
Since December, and we're working on a relationship.
Yeah,
shit.
It takes work. It takes work,
but we also hold each other accountable.
Exactly.
Like if it's stuff that I don't like, I'm like, Nicole.
Yeah, there was time I was late.
We just had this conversation. This bitch was 2 hours late.
I wasn't 2.
It was an hour and 46 minutes.
Ooh.
The thing about it is,
You were.
I was late. However, I want to let everyone know the set time was 5:30.
No, it was 6. It was 6.
I seen. I said, who?
She walked in with the talent. The person for interviewing her, Nicole, him and Nicole walk in 8 minutes apart from each other.
It was 6 on a Saturday. So I'm like, dude,
Saturday.
on a Saturday. So, you know, I mean,
I woke up at 5, but
it's ebbs and flows.
like, yeah, it's the same thing. It's back to,
And I was better the next time.
Yeah, it was a certain level of respect. So it's like, Nicole, I need help.
And I said, you're right.
You got to get up.
And I said,
gotta
you're
be
right.
here on time.
I didn't like, girl, I ain't like how you said.
Yeah.
You're right.
Yeah.
It was like,
I was late.
And that's good because sometimes when you tell people stuff, they don't really receive it well.
But it's-
so
yeah, no.
y'all have that relationship
Yeah.
that
I'm
you're
a very
able to-
black and white. If
Yeah.
she's right, you know, take away the B word. But if she's right, like she's right. I only have something else to say when I don't agree.
Yeah.
I'm not fighting to win.
and for the record, me and Nicole don't agree on most things.
Yeah.
Or it's usually like
Like,
a
we're similar.
Yeah.
But I mean, the branding, we're going back and forth on branding.
I'm a
I don't like these
conversationalist.
colors. I don't want these colors. I don't want this. I'm okay, cool. Like,
Jardin got the name. I think I chose the colors.
that's what it was.
That's what it was.
Because
Jardin got
we
the name, I
both
got the colors.
We both had our own name and we both had our own colors.
I think initially
And
Jardin
it
was
was
like yellow.
It's like meet in the middle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's what
Oh,
we have to
come
do.
The
on.
colors are fly.
That's how relationships work.
And it's true.
And it works.
I'm more of a conversationalist.
Yeah.
So even if I do like that answer, I'm more of like, let's just kind of dig in.
Let's unpack it.
Yeah, because we can discover a lot of things through conversation, how we're doing right now.
Yeah.
Exactly. So it's safe to say one of your goals is just to
Execute.
work on your relationship and execute throughout this process.
Y'all gonna
Yeah,
see some
I
stuff.
think-
We got some good stuff cooking for y'all.
We know we definitely have like great things cooking up, and a lot of who support us. I mean, people talk about it all the time. I mean, from any profession, rappers, like musicians, artists, whatever, always say the people who support you the most are the people that don't know you.
Oh, I can definitely vouch for that.
Yeah,
I can
and the
easily vouch for
people that follow me on Instagram, outside of my antics, if you follow me on social media, I am a nut. So
This is
if you follow me on social media, Instagram particularly, you watch my stories, it like I curse a lot. Like I'm always telling jokes. All you see is like, okay, this girl curses. She gets up early for work in the morning, and she's at football games all the time. And a lot of time people will be like, "Bro, what do you do? Like, how are you in 3 different states
Yeah.
in 2 days?"
Keep 'em guessing.
They're very confused. But what people, if you only know me from social media, what you don't know is like, I'm about my shit. And
You have a
I'm
regimen.
very professional. So I'm like, if I put my name on something,
It's gonna be fine.
It
it
has to
needs
be.
to be of a certain quality. It needs to be of a certain caliber because I'm not associating. I do associate with some bad things, but I'm not putting my.
You're just a girl.
Yeah, for the most part, if I'm doing something like a business venture, or it is going to be at a certain level of quality. I'm not putting out something in half-assing it. I'm going full throttle. So Nicole and I have been working on this first week of December, full throttle.
Probably pre. It was
It was the last week in November. It was right after. Yeah. It was the last week in November because I was about to go on sabbatical. So yeah. So it's gonna be of a.
Does sabbatical mean you're taking a break and writing a book?
I just thought it meant you taking a break.
I thought it was just taking a break too.
Oh.
But if you want to write a book,
I've only
too,
heard professors say that.
Well,
If
they
you wanna write a
said
book,
they're
you
like
wanna write a book.
we're doing research. So I'm just like, okay, I guess it means break.
brainstorming is
the,
a part of it.
the question was literally, I didn't know. Not even try to prove you wrong. I didn't know.
No, okay, yeah, no. Yeah, so I just
See, they already
took a
don't.
break from work. Yeah.
Sabbatical.
But yeah, we want it to be of a certain caliber. So it's like, I need a certain grade of equipment. I want certain level of production. I mean, like you mentioned earlier, like the branding, everything. I'm like, if we're gonna do it, we're gonna do it full throttle. So the goal is to be at a certain level of professionalism and a certain quality.
You don't get in the blocks of 100-meter dash just to start fucking jogging. So we started sprinting.
That's a good
It
one.
starts from the beginning.
That's a good one.
We started
It
sprinting.
starts from the beginning.
We're running.
So, what are some things that Playbook Diaries won't be? Like, what can we not expect?
what is it
from
not?
Playbook? Yeah, like, because there's tons of podcasts out here.
Let's get
So,
this straight.
what is it?
It's not a relationship podcast. We left that in 2023.
We do touch on them though.
We asked one or two questions.
We've asked it in every interview so
But
far.
it's not necessarily a segment. It's not
Yeah,
about what a man should do and what a woman should do.
Yeah. Because of some of the athletes that we have, we do talk about their dating regimens, like what is the norm? Because with every profession, dating looks different.
Yeah.
And so when you're talking to professional athletes, it's like, how are you managing these? Like, you have people in your DMs, like, you know, so we talk about it, but that's not
The thing.
the
It's still
goal.
relevant,
That's not,
Yeah.
it's relevant.
Because we're
But
highlighting
it's
the
not this
plays
goal.
of stories. So that might be a play within someone's story.
Yeah.
And that's the bulk of why we would talk about that. But another
100%.
thing that Playbook Diaries is not about I would say it's not about genders. It's not gender specified.
Yeah, we're not.
I just so happen to be a woman.
Yeah. We were, okay, so me and Nicole actually had an explicit conversation about this. I was like, I do not want this to be a woman working in sports. I don't want that to be our narrative. The narrative has been told 100,000 times. Like, we get it. You're a woman working in a male-dominated field.
Get it. Nah, cry me a
So
river.
are women engineers. Like, okay, we get it.
We get it. We heard
We
you.
get it.
I
We've heard
get
it.
it.
It's just, I feel like it's a kind of like a tired narrative. It does affect the way that we work in sports.
I mean,
But the story, I feel like, and you, I'm gonna speak for myself. I'm not gonna
speak
tell
for
your
yourself.
story.
Speak for yourself.
For myself, I don't feel like any of my experiences being a woman working in sports has not been told yet. It's like I've seen all the stories that I could have be told, but from the perspective of a woman, it's like, okay, they didn't respect me when I did this. They didn't. I've heard it so many times. People didn't hear my specific story. It's like that. My story is hers. Just switch out the names. You know. So I didn't. I told Nicole, I was like, I don't want it to be that. It's like we've heard it so many times. One thing that I would say, I don't. Playbook Diaries is not a gossip podcast.
For sure.
Like, the goal is not to gossip about athletes. Like, we're going to be talking about them, but it's not like we're like, oh, so-and-so and his wife are both.
Breaking news.
Yeah. It might
yeah.
come up. And it probably will come up depending on the athlete if something is relevant at that time, dealing with their relationship and it's affecting, you know, their sport, their game of play. But the goal is to not be like Wendy Williams. It's not a gossip column for sports. And me and Nicole released it on social media so vaguely. We said we gave no details. We just said
We're on the way.
it just said coming soon. And so I think because people know, like, I'm messy. They're like, oh, sports gossip, and I'm like.
But what's funny is also because the name is Playbook Diaries. They're assuming in our colors. They're assuming it's like that. Yeah. But I want to highlight the second name of the name is Diaries. And what do you put in a diary? You put things that you're being very open with.
Yeah. More private.
More private.
Yeah.
Like, we want to extract the plays of people's stories. And so it's definitely not a gossip column. I would say, you know, I don't think my story has been told.
That's why I didn't want to speak for
and
you.
I knew you were going to say that.
I was like, let me not speak for Nicole. But I'm like,
my story has not been told unless you hear from me. I don't think that I haven't met too many. I've read of a few, but I haven't met too many people who run track in law school or run track while they're getting their JD MBA. I haven't heard of too many people in this day and age that ran track at a Division I institution that never had a women's track and field program, and I am very prideful on that. And I'm a big advocate on people who are proud of their accomplishments. And I really actually do think that at times we tend to shy away of speaking of our accomplishments.
Yeah.
But that's actually what makes you very, very unique. And I think that there are a lot of people that will feel empowered and feel seen through our podcast because they are hearing stories and plays from the abnormal. And I think that it's like it's definitely a possibility to be bigger than what we are.
Ooh,
I really do. I really, really do. And so I'm excited. Shoot, I'm excited.
I'm excited for y'all.
Yeah, I'm excited.
I think y'all definitely have everything down packed, from the branding to understanding the business side because of your prior experience. You know, just working up into getting it going.
We literally have even like legal conversations because I'm an attorney.
yeah.
And so
I was wondering
benefits.
when you were
This
mention
is
that. I was going to mention it, but I was
That I'm
like,
an
she ain't
attorney?
said it. Yeah, I was like, she ain't said it yet. Maybe she don't want to say it.
it's so funny because it's like I be
I'm gonna bring it
forgetting.
up.
I be forgetting I'm a business attorney, but you know, I mean, it's there.
I think it's a good mix. I have the PR, the background.
Yeah, she's definitely a PR vibes.
What can be said, what can't
I'm
be
the balance,
said.
I would say.
I'm always like, I always tell Nicole, I'm like, we need a template.
Yeah,
I'm
Yeah.
creating
she's good at
templates
that.
And so I'm like, okay, we reach out to this person, blah, blah, blah. And he's
I'm like, wait.
And
this, like,
she does the research on like, nope, this ain't, we can't
we can't do this.
We're in treacherous territory. So it's a nice checks and balance.
Yeah. And like, I think that we both have very bold, I am, for lack of better terms, dominant personalities.
We do.
Yeah.
I don't like the word dominant because
But if you put either one of us in a room, we are probably a dominating voice in the room. In most rooms.
it's true.
I don't view it as a bad. I don't view dominance.
And I think
as
that's
a
my
bad
issue.
thing.
I see it as,
I think a lot of time when people think of dominance, they think of like a dictator. And
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
think
That's
that's
not
more
the
so what it
case.
is.
Or they
It's
think of
not.
a man.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's not the case. And it's just like, like you can be dominant and also follow.
You know,
You can be dominant and lead. You can be dominant and collaborate.
Yeah.
I feel like you can be dominant and be kind of like dainty. Like
you
I
really
feel like
can.
at work I'm still like dominant. Like people know that I'm there, but I'm like I'm still like soft, and they're like Jordan's nails are always done. And she always like like I feel like it's a mix, especially like in today's society. People are doing a really good job of not being in a box.
Yeah.
Yes, and that's one of my biggest things. Like, I don't fit in a box.
Yeah.
I don't think Jardin fits in a box. I don't think that you fit in a box. So
At all.
it's like a big deal of not fitting in a box. Jardin, what do you do?
Let me try to stretch this. I don't want to tell
A
people
project
I work.
manager?
So I'm a project manager in tech.
Okay.
And so my line of business is technology, global technology.
So she does that, and I'm sure the average project manager is not having a sports podcast.
Right.
And I'm a business attorney, and maybe I'll disclose what industry I work in, but I work in a myriad of industries.
Yeah.
But like, there's not that many of attorneys that are having a podcast
Or
that
even
are
have- or
not
even have
speaking
the
about
time.
law. Most attorneys just want to speak about law.
Yeah. Yeah.
So going forward for your podcast, are there only going to be athletes, or how are you going to go about your guests?
I don't think so. It's Playbook Diaries. And Nicole, what's the motto? What's our motto for the podcast?
Where there is a play behind every story.
So you don't have to be an athlete to have a play or have a strategy behind why you did certain things. Right. So I definitely don't think that the podcast we might start off with athletes, but I don't think it will remain only athletes. I think actually sooner rather than later will it start branching out to other people, because a play is like, what's the play?
What's the play?
It's like, wait,
that's
what
the
is
number
it?
one question we ask every time. So what's the play?
Yeah, it's like, what's the plan? What is the strategy? I'm not an athlete. I haven't been an athlete since high school, but I still got plays.
Yeah.
I'm still strategizing about what my next move is, what I'm doing. So you don't have to be an athlete to have a play. So I definitely think. What do you think? I never thought that we were going to remain as only athletes.
I literally before Paige asked this question, I said that we don't fit in the box. So I will summarize before I say more. I will summarize that we don't fit in a box. But I am very interested in predominantly hearing athletes and sports figures. One thing that I didn't say before is I think that sports has played an instrumental role in shaping me to the woman that I am today.
Yeah.
And I think that is paramount in who we look to interview. Like, we're going to give y'all a treat. Like, we're going from some of the top prospects in Texas high school, Florida high school, California high school, United States high school, and we're going all the way to professional athletes, sports figures, people who are literally curating the things that you watch on TV.
Yeah, it's not just we have football players, we have
Football, basketball, softball,
at all
coaches.
different levels. So high school, collegiate, we have coaches from each level. Nice. We have softball players. It is it's a treat. It is a treat. It's something for everybody.
We got appetizers, meals, desserts, wine.
What you need, y'all have.
Hors d'oeuvres.
Yeah. Yeah. And so the only thing is like
greens, potatoes. I'm sorry.
We both had a strong network of people that we knew that were pretty sought after people to interview.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, these are interesting people. And so hopefully from them, which they've all been great about posting on their social media, we've gotten followers, we've got more people interested. Because, you know, it's hard to get interviews when you don't have content on your page yet.
Yeah. Because they don't know what to expect.
It's like,
they're like,
well,
who are
you know,
you?
I mean, they could be like this. I want, if someone's asking to interview me, it's like, what did Nicki Minaj say? When I walk in, I don't want pickle juice.
Yeah.
I want things to be of a certain standard.
Did someone offer her pickle juice?
She went to a photo. So the context behind that is when she was first starting out, she was with Young Money, but she was still big at the time. Mm-hmm. And she went to a photo shoot and they had like 2 outfits for her and they had pickles.
That's it?
And she was like, I came there and, you know, I'm Nicki Minaj, who was hot at the time that this is happening. And she was like, I have, you know, you're offering me pickle juice. She goes, I had to walk out on that photo shoot because if I had stayed and continued with the photo shoot, that would have been my norm. Yeah. And everyone from that point on would have said...
It would have been okay.
Yeah. And she said from that point on, it would have been, this is how you can treat her. So she was like, because I walked out, she was like, yeah. They were like, oh, she's a bitch. But she was like, but for the next company that comes in and works with me, they knew not to have pickle juice.
Yeah, it's
true.
She was like, they knew to have a food budget, have more than 2 outfits. And that was, so for us, we've reached out to some people and it's like, okay, well, I'm not saying no, but
I want to see more.
When you get some content out, let me know. I just want to see the caliber, like how production is before I sign on to something.
Though. Yeah, I get it. People want to put their name on it.
I get it also as well because every time there's a new podcast, it seems like it's just like clickbait or it's just
it's
next thing trying to go viral.
Takes.
So
yeah,
I understand because you have to protect your brand too.
Yeah,
as a guest.
And that was something we also said. We said we're not saying outrageous takes just to get people to watch our content.
Right.
It's still authentic. It's still raw. It's still genuinely what Nicole believes and what I believe. And most of the time we are on different pages.
But I think most times we're on the same page.
I don't think so.
See?
See, we're not on the same page right now.
See?
But I feel like we can both sit there and articulate why we feel the way that we do. And I think if you went to like our social media or any forums that we've spoken publicly on, you can trace it back to say, well, she's been saying this for years. So that's not an outrageous take for her. But we definitely have different takes and we're not going to just say stuff because that's what's going to be clicked on.
Yeah.
It's like if we get 2 views, we'll take that we're building.
So
but I'm not going to say nothing crazy for 1,000 views.
Where can we view Playbook Diaries? Like how can we find Playbook Diaries?
Say less. You can find Playbook Diaries on YouTube. You can find Playbook Diaries on TikTok. You can find Playbook Diaries on Instagram and Twitter. And we have an outlet on Facebook as well.
You doing the Twitter? Because I ain't got no Twitter for a page. We'll work on that.
You can find it on all those mediums.
They'll work that out.
And then also Apple Podcasts.
Apple Podcasts. I'm not really the biggest fan of Twitter.
Twitter,
that's an unpopular opinion.
To me, Twitter is so messy and with
it's like a black hole of
with cancel culture.
Yeah.
Twitter you can leave an opinion with no context.
Like if
leave and cause a whole uproar.
If we put this on Twitter, she's ugly. Like because I said that about Twitter. Like that's why she's ugly.
No, please mention. Look, like
look at her.
For context,
who wears green?
Remember the John Morant situation?
Yeah.
Bro, y'all, they
we'll bring that up.
A new one. We'll mention that in another podcast.
We're gonna be plastered everywhere, and like we've been saying, it's definitely going to be a special treat, and super excited to be elaborating more on our soft skills and talents that people don't know about.
Yeah, but if we give an opinion, don't call me ugly. It's a lot of shit I'll take. Don't call me ugly.
Because I think Jardin would comment back. So please. Tread lightly.
Like, if you're going to call me ugly, you need to make sure your page is private.
I mean, it's usually the pages that
normally the pages that
they be having like Lilo and Stitch on them.
Tag photos.
Lilo and Stitch is crazy.
They have random stuff on them.
I'm going through tag photos. I'm going through your followers, and I'm searching your last name.
I actually found your aunt on Facebook. Like, you know.
There was one time I commented on Joe Biden's on a post. Why are y'all laughing already?
Because it's random.
I commented on a post and he was talking about how he was proud of something that he accomplished for the country. And I'm like, next, forgive student loans. These people came after me. I had to delete the comment. They went to my profile where I was in Turkey. You're asking them to delete your student loans. Remove your student loans. You're traveling the world. You're in Turkey. The same person. You're in Brazil.
Oh my God. What are you doing?
I'm like, you're kind of right.
Yeah, you actually are.
Joe,
I want to use my money how I want to
you can
use it.
still take away my student loans.
Please help me.
Yeah, no, people be coming out the woodworks.
And we're ready for it.
Yeah, I made a comment on the Shade Room. You love white people. I was like,
I do like white people.
I do like white people.
I like everybody.
But it's like, because I made this comment and I backed it up with stats. And I'm like, this situation is not this. Because somebody was calling something racist. And I was like, it's a lot of factors at play.
We'll touch into that.
Yeah, I don't think the biggest play on that situation was racism. But I'm like, I went to Oklahoma. I know racism. Like,
Yeah, so we got some good
it.
stuff going on, and we're gonna be plastered on all channels.
I'm excited. I'm definitely excited to see what you guys create. I'm really big on people who bring an idea from their brain
And
put it to
actually
life
and execute it.
That
Yeah.
is 100%. You have
That's
my
the key to
support.
life.
It's the key to life. Y'all definitely have my support, and I wanted to say thank y'all for allowing me to be in y'all space.
Oh my God! Thank you guys for tuning in to the first ever Playbook Diaries podcast episode. You are tuned into the pilot, and guess what? We're freaking taking off. Again, my name is Nicole.
And I'm Jardin.
And this is the Playbook Diaries podcast, where every freaking story has a play. See you later.